Hey, everybody, it's Dave here from Vikings First and SKOL. And we're watching the Vikings just scored 3 to go up 10 with 3 minutes and 31 seconds left. So this is going to be interesting. I want to welcome everybody here. Dice Mixer. Good to see you. And yes, the booth review was wrong as usual. All right. Ron, good to see you. And Peter, SKOL. And yes, I'm wearing fur because it's Vikings game day and I'm chilly. So we have the kick, the pooch kick. It's good. Picked up at the 5 by Detroit. And it is tackled at about the 29 as made it to the 31. Being generous on second effort. Yes, it is. I want to welcome everybody to the show. This is your Week 9 Minnesota Vikings at the Detroit Lions. And the Vikings are winning this game. They're presently up 27-17. Let's hold them. Hey, Justin, SKOL. Yes, McCarthy has played relatively well today. He's definitely improved. Gotta lie it. And Cody says it's the flying pig. Yes, it is. And I'm on St. Brown, caught a pass. All right. Chevy says he's so happy. Buddy, you are the only one. All right. Goff drops back. Another one. I'm on Ross St. Brown at the Vikings 47. Justin, pigs are flying. Hey, whatever works, baby. Whatever works. All right. Back again. Throws again. I'm on Ross St. Brown. He spins out of the tackle. The tackling today still needs improved. On Rock goes off, probably cramping. Seems to be an epidemic today. And if I'm behind people, let me know. Go ahead and spoil it. 3:17 to go. I've got 3:17 to go. I've got 2:20. All right. Time's ticking. Gave it to Gibbs. He ran. Not quite a first down. It's 3rd down and 1. All right, here we go. And it's the 2-minute warning. Time for the roll-in. Welcome to Vikings First and SKOLs, live at the 2-minute warning. Next. Hey, everybody, and if we got an echo, it's probably from my speakers, and I'm getting rid of it right now. Here we go. Go back to me. All right. We're live at the 2-minute warning. They're in commercial, and I want to welcome everybody that's here. You guys absolutely rocked. Chevy says this was so unexpected. We knew we had it in us. Go team. And Peter says the Packers just lost to the Carolina Panthers. Isn't that wonderful? And they surely did. Oh, it makes the weekend great. 2 things. Vikings win, Packers lose. Oh, it makes for a good weekend. Improve on the week. Ah, damn Bengals. The Bears are going to win. They've got how much time remaining? 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And they are up 41-27 after trailing most of the first half. So we don't catch the Bears, but everybody backs up. That's good. Yes, Mary, come on, Vikes. Peter says the better thing than JJ looking good is the Packers just lost. Yes, it is. Great day, Two Toads. You got it right. Great day. It's always a good day when the Packers lose. It's a better day when the Vikings win and the Packers lose. Gotta wet the whistle. Gotta wet the whistle. And everybody's saying hi to Miss Mary. That's good. Miss Mary is a wonderful lady to watch the ball game with. She joins myself and Darren Campbell in a private chat during the game, and we talk, and it's absolutely great. And then I tried to be in the Discord chat, and I saw a lot of you there. That was absolutely wonderful. Chevy says we're not a dead animal this year. You gotta be kidding me. J-Mo caught a long bomb, and did he step out? No, he didn't. That looks like a touchdown. Yes, definitely. Jason, definitely. Well, good thing we had a 2-score lead. All right. This is crazy, folks. It's getting a lot closer than it makes havable. A lot more close than I want. Beats Rodgers. Shoved him back. It was a push-off, but okay. And we know how New York treats the Vikings. Our helmets are the wrong color. They're not red and have a Chiefs logo on them. That was BS. All right. They're going for the extra point to bring it in within 3. It was a touchdown. Scores 27-23 with 1:55. Getting ready to snap the ball. Snap. Kick. Kick is good. All right. Vikings lead 27-24 with 1:55. Yeah, Two-Tone, he pushed off. And we know New York or the refs aren't going to call it. We do know that because it seems like they have a grudge against the Minnesota Vikings for some reason. But hey, it is what it is. Cody's saying BS. All right, everybody. It is time to make sure we win this one. And as Tom Brady's saying, it's time to make the young quarterback step up. Let him step up. Let's get some first downs. Everybody's got their timeouts, so there's plenty of time. About to say, should they go for an onside kick? They're obviously not. We will see. I don't know about the refs got money on the game. That would be detrimental to the NFL's health, especially with the NBA's gambling implications. Biggs! You can thank KOC for the loss. His game management sucks. Biggs, we have not lost it yet. Vikings news today, SKOL. Let's go, JJ. You got that right, two-toned. Mary says, okay, Vikes, you can do this. Yes, they can. Nice long drive. Come on, baby. JJ's under center. Takes a snap. Miscommunication again. But he runs and gets to about 5 yards. 4. Wow. Oops. It looks like Mason was the one that screwed that one up. Wow. Because they had the double team on the left. Mason went to the right. Wow. All right. Now the crowd's going to get wild. JJ's got the play in. Everybody's going to the line. Vanette's on in there. That's interesting. They're going heavy. Hands off to Mason. Mason gets about 1 yard, if that. Well. Now it's going to be third down, and JJ's going to have to get the first down one way or another. This is crazy. People wonder why I drink. This is why. Yes, it is. Now, here we go. Did I just see that graphic that KOC's 9-1 in one-scored games? Hey there, George. Welcome to the show, my friend. All right. 3rd and 5, minute 41 left. Let's go. JJ's in shotgun. Moving Justin Jefferson. It's going for a pass. A really quick pass to Naylor, and he caught it for a first down. Yes. 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 Oh, George. Wow. That's great. Naylor had messed up so many times today. However, when his quote interception I thought was BS, but yes, we know that. Yes, this was last year, and we're 2-2 this year. And we're in a victory formation. All right, 56 seconds to go. Time stopped because Detroit called a timeout. Chuck just scared the shit out of a dog. Whoops. If I did it, I apologize. I scare mine, too. He'll lay down here every once in a while. I'll yell and scream, and he gets startled, and he runs upstairs. My big, bad Great Dane, yes. Deshaunte Peterson, I told him JJ was a baller, yes. Fans doubted it. Not all of us, buddy. Not all of us. All right. Chevy, Wilson, Hargrave, Redmond, maybe even JG balled out on the D today. Just do it, JJ. Clock is running down. And boom. It looks like the game is over. Your Minnesota Vikings win. Vikings win. Vikings win. Final score, Minnesota 27, Detroit 24 in their house, no less. Wow. All right. This is awesome. Now, there are some things that need cleaned up. Without a doubt, there are some things that need cleaned up. Penalties on special teams. Price has been screwed out of so many return yards and a TD today. It is crazy. Now, I'm going to pull off my other headset real quick because I don't need it anymore. But this is crazy. Yes, Freddie, JJ is the dude. Without a doubt, he is the dude. Yeah, he's, as Deshaun Peterson says, he's 2-0 in the division. Y'all better leave my boy, JJ Mick, out of y'all mouth. Let's freaking go, George. Hell yeah. Two-tone, wasn't expecting that. Consciousness reality. a trap game for the Lions. I even said before this, I hope this is a trap game for the Lions. And that I hope to be hearing from Jude and Foster on Wednesday how it was such a trap game. Raymond, who is this team? Hey, Raymond, not so fast. They still got a lot of stuff to clean up. But today was a very, very good effort net. Big saying KOC's game management is still terrible. He can always improve. All coaches can. George said penalties. Yes, penalties were bad. Chevy, congratulations, Vikings. Freddie, Packers lose. Yes, Freddie, there's nothing better than a weekend where the Minnesota Vikings win and the Packers lose. The only thing that would have put the frosting on the cake is if the Bears did, but they are on their way to destroying the Bengals. They presently lead 41-33. There can't be much time left in that game either. All right. KOC actually ran the ball. We had both our tackles today. We had 4/5 of the offensive line. What a difference that makes, doesn't it? Congrats to the Vikings outplayed the Lions in the trenches. We'll see the revenge game in Minnesota. You deserve the W. Well, thank you, Nick. That's mighty kind of you. Vikings win, Vikings win. Yes, Mary. Let's go. Cheers, Forlord. Hope you are well into getting in the bag today. Dr. Proto, yeah, I said sometimes we win games we shouldn't. Yeah, but sometimes we lose games we shouldn't. So that sort of hopefully works its way around. So proud of the defense today. Yes, hell of a game. All right. QBs that can run are the way of the future. Yes, I'll agree with that. I agree with that very much. I got a lot to catch up with. This is cool. The division just got better. Yes, it did. That throw to Naylor was onions. Hey, I've got 2 people waiting. Let me bring them in. Let's do this. Bada boom. There's 4. Wrong screen, but it'll work. Hey, gentlemen, Jonas, Darren, how are you 2 doing?
Pretty good right now.
I would say exhausted, but in a good way.
Hey, if it works, it works. Do you guys go into
sure.
daylight savings time over there in Germany? Do you go into daylight savings time in Germany?
Sounds like that's a no.
It sounds like it's a no.
Probably not, yeah.
Well, we went this weekend where we set clocks an hour back, gained an hour.
Oh, yeah. We did it last week. So last week we had the games an hour earlier for our time. This week it's back to normal. So, yeah.
Okay. Darren, you guys do it the same time we do, don't you?
Yeah, we went, it was today. An hour's back, yeah. So I got an extra hour of sleep, which was good.
My body said, no, you're getting up at the normal time, which is crazy. Jonas, what'd you think of the game?
I mean, I'm not getting old, that's for sure. If the Vikings continue doing this stuff. What the hell?
I'll fix it. Keep talking.
I know. I was just watching my my monitor. I have my TV right above that, and there was stuff going on, and that's what I was watching. Anyway, that was a football game. I mean, if we try to
Daniel nailed this
to
one.
get
I didn't interrupt, but Daniel nailed
serious.
this one. Another W in the state of Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, what we saw today, I think that was what we could have expected going into the season. We had an opportunistic defense that did very good work with against a very good offense. They stopped finally.
Oops.
It really felt like they were a bit over. They were a bit over their heads over the last few games, and this time it really felt like that they went back to what makes them good, and they simplified things, and therefore that defense looked like this defense was supposed to look. And on offense, I think that's what we all expected to see from JJ McCarthy. We saw the good stretches, we saw some struggles. It wasn't consistent, but there was definitely more good than bad. And I think that's all we can hope for from our young QB.
Tyler, welcome to the show.
I hope every Lions fan that watched the Real Forno show on Thursday is here right now, because I was very measured when talking about this team, and I didn't think they would win this game. I'm just going to be 100% honest, because they needed to answer a lot of questions, and they needed to do it all at once. And you know what? They didn't answer every question, but they answered enough of them, and they came out of here with a win. This should have been a bigger win, honestly, because you had the Miles Price kick return touchdown called back. Tavierre Thomas just with an all-time cuttable day. If he's here next week, I would be a little bit surprised.
What did I message today during the game? Can we cut Thomas now?
The only reason why I think he wasn't cut earlier is because he does have $1 million fully guaranteed, and teams will err on the side of keeping guys who have a lot of guaranteed money versus guys who don't. Is that good business? Well, it's all substantial, but it's, to me, this comes down to one thing. This team believes in themselves. And there was so much chatter, and it drove me nuts about how there's tension in the building. There's this and that. And all these national writers are talking about, what are the Vikings going to do if McCarthy's bad? Dog, before this game, we had 8 quarters to evaluate. And now we have another 4. And there's still some things to iron out. He needs to, like Brady mentioned, the point of the ball needs to be in the right spot when he's making some of these throws, and it's sailing on him. Some mechanical stuff that needs to be cleaned up. But that's all stuff you can work on with a 22-year-old kid. The process of which he was working was very good, and we should feel really good about that. I thought the defense played extremely well. The performance of Eric Wilson so far this year has been revolutionary, and you also should not resign him because he probably won't ever do this again. But it also shows the need of this defense needing another off-ball linebacker who can do a lot of different things. And I was just so impressed with a lot of little things with this team that we just weren't seeing consistently. Grenard still can't wrap guys up in the backfield. Some of it is just positioning. Some of it is just luck. Some of it is just, dude, you just got to be better. It's a combination of all three, but they're getting pressure. They got pressure on Jared Goff on 18 dropbacks, and he was 7 of 13 for 107 yards and a touchdown. They played really well against him. I think one of that touchdown was that Jameson Williams throw where it was single coverage on the outside, just a dot. Offense gets paid too. You're going to lose every now and then with those, but I'm very happy with how this team performed when we talked all offseason. This is exactly what we thought this team could be all year. Good quarterback play, not elite quarterback play, but good. Defense was performing extremely well, and the special teams was making plays when they weren't shooting themselves in the foot. You can just eliminate them shooting themselves in the foot. This is probably like a 10 to 14 point win. Straight up.
Those goddamn special teams penalties are driving me nuts.
It's bad.
How does a veteran special teamer like Thomas not stay running out of bounds there? Like, that's such a fucking basic thing. And he wasn't even pressured to go back in, and he just keeps on running. That's the fucking dumbest shit you can possibly do from a veteran. Get rid of him. You can't play
By
on
the-
defense.
Just
By the
imagine
way,
how much you have to suck for Darren to drop multiple cuss words. That's very not Canadian of you, Darren.
by the
Well, I'm a
way,
little
the
feisty
Bengals
after the ball game last night, Tyler.
I don't blame you. What about the
Yeah,
Bengals?
the Bengals just tied the game against the Bears, and they are an extra point away from taking the lead.
They got an onside kick? Oh my god.
No, they didn't got an onside kick. The Bears punted,
they took the lead.
One of their guys touched it, which is how the Bengals got the ball again.
No way. That's incredible. That's
And now
incredible.
42-41.
How much time
But
left?
the Bears have 54 seconds, so they still can get. They still have some time to get where they need to be to win it with a field goal. But the fact that the Bears are even in this position is nuts.
I love it.
Yeah, and the Packers lost today, and Matt LaFleur just said on the podium, it does not look good for Tucker Kraft's knee. Look, everything's coming up Millhouse, baby. Everything's coming up Millhouse. I'm really happy with this team. One nitpick. I loved in a vacuum the idea of calling a naked bootleg to JJ McCarthy on 3rd and goal. I think that was a really smart idea in general. I didn't love it, the fact that they caught them over pursuing 2 other times earlier that drive. Maybe don't go back to the well again. And maybe, hey, we're over pursuing. We got to calm down. We got to hold our edges. And they did. And they ended up getting the stop. It didn't end up mattering because the Vikings still won by 3. They got the field goal. But some of the little things still need to be a little bit cleaned up. I thought that was one, because I thought his play calling on that drive up to that point was very good. The jet sweep, the counter toss pitch to Jordan Mason, just to catch them napping a little bit and gain chunks of yards, that was tremendous. But if you keep going back to the well, they're going to find it. And they did. And luckily it didn't end up mattering, but little nitpick there. Just overall, great win. Great win. We have to feel like Vikings fans should feel great coming out of this game. They haven't beaten the Lions since September of 22. They haven't won in Ford Field since Thanksgiving of 27. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, if we look at the last 2 games, I think this was the breaking point for the season. If the Vikings go in today, fall flat on their ass, I think that season is done. Like, I think nobody in this building believes anymore if they fall flat today. But they didn't. McCarthy was, that last throw was like one of the gutsiest things you could have done, both from O'Connell calling it and JJ taking it. I wouldn't have been mad if JJ just tried to run it and just get the yards that way. But he made that throw. He made it perfectly. He this day already started with a similar throw to Jordan Addison, which was an absolute dart. And I think at that point we already saw that he was in a zone today, and that's, I think, the best we can expect from him, to be this good in those kind of situations and be competent throughout the game. Yes, he had some inconsistencies, but he's a young QB. That's just the way it's gonna be. But this was really encouraging, and the Vikings on so many levels needed just that.
Yes,
they did. 3rd and 10.
Darren, what do you remember what Drewster said yesterday were some of the keys to the game?
Well, stop the run, get McCarthy to be more of a playmaker, those sorts of
middle.
things. Yeah. No, but I got a few things on this one. Like Jonas and Tyler stole what I was going to say, which is the whole thing about this game was exactly what the Vikings thought their team was going to be when they started the season. You get, the offense is effective enough, and the defense is getting after the quarterback, creating a lot of pressures, getting sacks, get a turnover, played just solid, very good. I thought today might not call it a dominant performance by the defense, because they did let the Detroit get some long third and long complete conversions there, but still against that offense on the road, a hell of a job by them. The tackling was 900% better than I've seen the previous couple of games, except for a few instances. And KOC last year, I think it would end up being a fourth down. Remember the game we lost at home? We had the chance, if we get one more first down, we win the game. We decided to punt it. And of course, Detroit came back and drove and got a very makeable field goal. This time, I don't know if it would have made that sort of pass, but a hell of a catch by Naylor. But good to see them being aggressive to try to get a first down there, because if you punt it away, Detroit's driving up the field and getting a field goal at least, and maybe another touchdown at the most, and we end up either going into overtime or shaking our heads because we lost one that we had a 10-point lead with like 3 minutes left.
Bengals defense is so bad.
They just let the Bears score.
Ah, well, not
Bears have scored 47 points today.
How?
Just a post route from Colston Loveland over the middle, and two Bengals couldn't tackle him, and he just ran into the end zone.
What I kind of loved in this game, to get away from the Bears, is how many, and I'm not trying to be a prick here, but how many injuries I saw Detroit have today. Some of them are fluky, but I think that showed, particularly on the offensive line, that showed the physical nature that the Vikings played today. They were pounding. They were being the more physical pounding team on Detroit. Usually it's vice versa, and I fucking love it. Seeing those pricks on the ground, like having to go out of the game. Oh, I'm sore. Take me out, honey. Like, that was awesome.
Yes,
we have not seen that. We have not seen the Vikings do that to the Lions in, I can't even remember how long.
Man, we need the Blue Jays to lose more World Series games. This Darren rules.
Yes.
I'm only half kidding. I was very sad the Jays lost last night.
I will make mark the podcast version of this explicit.
This tackle attempt by the Bengals safety kind of looked like the miracle tackle attempt. That was the same one.
Probably
Question
because
is,
it was a tight end.
Is can the Vikings repeat this against Baltimore next week at home? That
Hopefully.
is,
yeah.
We got to get out of this one win, one loss, one win, one loss pattern and start stacking some solid games together.
I think the nice part about this game is pretty much everything you saw feels sustainable, right?
Mm-hmm.
They did force the one fumble, which it was one turnover. I think every NFL team should expect like about one turnover forced a game. It wasn't like the Bengals game where they forced 5. Like, that's not sustainable. JJ McCarthy making good process decisions was the one thing that really concerned me. And I don't know whose fault this is, but I think right now it's probably on the young quarterback. You had 2 plays, it might have been 3, I'm trying to remember correctly, where they completely botched a handoff because both guys went different directions. Where is that coming from? Is that coming from how McCarthy's hearing the play? Is that coming from how he's communicating the play? Is it just that they're out of complete sync? What's the deal there? That to me is a little bit on the concerning side, but we don't know who to blame for it. We don't know who's actually responsible. And
I'm pretty sure about the last one. That one was on Mason, because the way JJ was turning was also the way the entire line was blocking. So that one was just a mix-up by Mason, I would say. Not sure about the other one, but the last one was definitely on Mason. I'm very, very sure about that one.
Is that on crowd noise, boys? Like, you don't hear the play or the audible?
Might be.
It's always possible, right?
But it was everybody else apparently knew the play, because everybody went in one direction and Mason went in the other one. So I think that one was pretty clear.
And Tyler, you were saying about how important it was to get Van Ginkel back in there, and he didn't make a lot of splash plays today. But is it a coincidence that the Vikings played their best defensive game of the year, probably, and he's playing? Probably not.
I don't know if it's a correlation causation thing, but I do think having Van Ginkel in there with his role was really important. Now, they did rotate him in and out over the course of the game. Let's see if I can get the his total snaps. So they had 64 defensive snaps. Van Ginkel played 39. So they did.
By the way,
What?
The Bengals are now trying a Hail Mary. They
And
are
it failed.
midfield. Failed? Okay.
It failed.
Damn it.
Yeah.
So you're ahead of me just seeing it.
Yeah. So I think having him in there was really important. What I find interesting is the game plan wise, Turner played just 14 snaps. And I think some of that had to do with how they wanted to have real linebackers in there consistently with that run game. And you know what? It worked because the Lions only had, I think, 65 rushing yards between David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. They just stuffed them. They stopped them straight up. And I think Blake Cashman played all 64 snaps. Eric Wilson played 56. And I think, to me, that was more of a game plan thing. They wanted bigger bodies in there to stop the run. It was interesting to kind of see how like Van Ginkel played, because I thought he didn't really have any splash plays, but with a guy like Van Ginkel, he doesn't need to have splash plays per se.
Chuck said he blew up 4 screens behind the line of scrimmage.
One of them, he got blown up, and then he was just right there and just tackled Gibbs. It was hilarious. Van Ginkel was
it works.
He was attributed with 1 pressure on 15 pass rush reps. He dropped into coverage 12 times. I want to answer Anthony's question about the tackling. Look, this is what happens when you have small corners. When you have small corners, it's harder for them to tackle. There's not as much strength. There's not as much length. It's the Isaiah Rodgers one on that 3rd and 14 where Jameson Williams just stopped and cut back upfield on a hitch. Look, he got baited a little bit inside, and he should have stayed more patient. But you have to be able to make that tackle. It's also hard because, and I know Darren and Dave, you can attest to this, when you don't tackle in practice, it's harder to tackle in games. And that's one of the reasons why tackling has been at such a premium, because guys just aren't as good at it anymore because they're not practicing it every single week, every single day.
Plus all the rule changes that have made it more difficult.
I don't even think it's the rule changes of how you can practice. You're only allowed I think it's 14 or 15 padded practices throughout the entirety of the season. No, you can't tackle when it shows.
But I'm also talking about the rule changes about how you can tackle have also changed.
I don't even think the hip drop is that big of a deal. There weren't even that many hip drops.
I'm not talking about a hip drop. I'm talking about above the knees, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's only for quarterbacks. Those aren't rules in the open field, Dave.
There's
like if you
can't
go
stick
low,
your head in there. There's the whole. No, they've gotten softer.
Oh, softer.
I don't. The main hurts just the head thing. That's all it is. No, I wouldn't say that matters that much.
They're just not practicing. That's the long and the short of it. They're not practicing tackling because they can't. Like in the 90s, they would have full padded practices 2-3 times a week. Now you're lucky if you get one because of how you have to spread them out over the course of the year. That to me is the number one reason why tackling is so poor. Yeah, they've made some rule changes to try and make the game safer, head up especially. But at the end of the day, if you can't practice it, none of that matters. None of it does.
I think this in part it's this, and then you also have obviously the fact that skilled players, receivers, running backs have become way faster, way more athletic. So on the one hand, you can practice, and on the other hand, the other guys are getting better and better. So I think this goes hand in hand, and therefore tackling, especially in the open field, has become really hard in the NFL.
Yes, it has. And Rodgers, like I said, he's a smaller guy if people are picking on him, but he also, I find, has a tendency to rather than he wants to punch the ball out all the time instead of actually wrapping a guy up. And that leads to extra yards after contact, if he even makes contact, and that sort of thing. But he's not in there to tackle anyway. he's in there to cover guys. You got other guys to do the tackling, hopefully most of the time, which happened today for the most part, except on that Williams catch. But let's see one of us try to cover Williams in the open field and make that tackle.
Yeah, I think that guy is running 15 yards before I run 5.
What did we think about like how McCarthy ran things? I noticed a lot of plays. I don't know if it was a problem, Tyler. I think you'd mentioned this in the past about the play clock running down to 1 or 2 seconds too often. That was a lot of plays where I saw that. It didn't seem to be cause any problems, and maybe that was part of their plan. But I thought overall the things I want to see from him today: better pocket presence, throw with conviction, get the ball out quicker. All of those things for the most part happened, and he was under duress quite a bit after the first quarter.
The thing for me is a lot of QBs, and it's quite common that teams let the play clock run down pretty far. In this case, I would say I'm not looking at where the play clock ends. I'm kind of looking when the offense is breaking the huddle, because that's something where I think a lot of problems originated from for the Vikings, because they were breaking the huddles very late, in both with McCarthy and with Wentz, and that was a frequent problem. So they had to rush plays at the line of scrimmage. They weren't able to make the right pre-snap reads because they had to rush things. And today, yes, they went deep into the play clock a few times, but I also noticed that on most plays, they broke the huddle just right after the 20-second mark, which is mostly where you want to be. And therefore, I actually think that was a positive today.
Mm-hmm.
I think on both sides of the ball, they simplified things. And I think that showed today. It was just way more functional.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know, and you very well could be right, Jonas. The one thing that I found interesting is I don't even know if they simplified things as far as the play calls, but like this, just the specifics of all the execution elements were there. I wonder, like, because one of the things that they've talked about, a lot of teams have talked about, is like the backup quarterbacks will always listen to the play calls. And I wonder if just having more of that, and you know what, hopefully somebody asks if they did some simplification with the play calls themselves to try and make the process better. But whatever they did, it worked.
I actually don't think that the play calls in general in the offense were easy. I actually think they got back to their original offense and put more on McCarthy's plate than they did for Wentz. They ran a pretty vanilla offense for Wentz, and they certainly didn't do that today. But I think there have been times where they said and reported that O'Connell is kind of trying to coach the guys like right into the huddle, and he's still talking and talking and talking, because he's laying everything out and telling them the progressions and all that stuff. And I think that's the one thing they took away today. I think the mindset they went in with was just let McCarthy rip it. Just let him do his stuff. And I think that was the main part of that. That was what I mean with simplifying stuff, because they didn't try to coach him in every detail to the line of scrimmage, and instead they just let him do his stuff, let him make his mistakes. And I think that's more what I meant with that. And I think that kind of sped up the process in and out of the huddle.
You just earned brownie points with Drew Bunting there, Jonas. He said the same thing yesterday on Two Old Bloggers. Let McCarthy do his stuff.
Yeah. There was a lot of trust with McCarthy.
And, he went 14 for 25, so it's 56% completion percentage. He still hasn't thrown for over 160 yards passing in his 3 games as a starter. So saw some good things today, but still he needs to be better than that. For them to, you got to start completing over 60% of your passes, and putting into getting a bit more air yards. I think today was a positive, a step forward for him for sure. But again, if the defense doesn't play really, really, really good, we're talking about we might be talking about McCarthy's had some needing to be better. He still needs to be better. I think we all recognize that, but I hope people aren't just over the moon by his performance today. Encouraging, yes, but a long way to go. And maybe encouraging is just fine after 3 NFL starts.
He's
and
gradually increased his number of passes. He did 20 in game 1, 21 in game 2, and now this is the 3rd game, and he did 25. Which is shockingly low for KOC.
Yeah, I think that confidence that O'Connell had, and I just keep going back to the comments of O'Connell after McCarthy's injury, that organizations fail young quarterbacks before young quarterbacks fail organizations. The national media talking about how, if McCarthy's bad, they may have to move on. Like, we've had 8 quarters. The 8 quarters weren't great. One of them was phenomenal. 7 of them were bad, but he's 8 quarters into his career. Nobody knows anything about this kid yet. Nobody knows what he will be. Anybody who tries to tell you that is lying. You think you are going to see this. You think he's going to become that. You don't know anything. None of us do. We can only project forward. And you know what? He took a huge step in some of those projections today. Kevin O'Connell trusted him. That trust worked. And McCarthy delivered. There's still some little things. But when it comes to process, poise, I was very, very impressed. He needs to fix some of the mechanical stuff. That's going to come with time. The dude is 22 years old. But he went into a very hostile environment, a place where the Vikings have not won since 2017, and went in there and won. And you got to feel really good about that. Nothing's certain with this guy. He could still be a bust. He could be a Hall of Famer. He could be anywhere in between. Nothing anybody tells you right now is coming from a place of I know. It's coming from a place of I think. I believe. And right now, I believe that the Vikings are on the right track to potentially making the playoffs. I said, if they want to make the playoffs, they needed this win. Now they're 4-4. 4-4 is a hell of a lot different than 3-5. And you know what? They've got 2 road wins in the NFC North. Now you got to go into Green Bay in a couple weeks, beat the Packers at Lambeau, which the Panthers did today. So it's doable. And they're not going to have Tucker Kraft, and that's a humongous loss for the Packers. And then you get all 3 of those teams at home still. Like, this was all, like, they needed to have a good start because of what the schedule looked like. 3-2 was not ideal, but this was always going to be a team that was probably going to gel in the second half once McCarthy got some reps underneath him, got his bearings together, and that's starting to happen now. We'll see what happens next week at the Ravens, but you got to feel good about this. And there's still a lot more that has to happen, but this is a great start.
No tweet, no social media posts about McCarthy having an injury or anything.
The whole stock benching stuff was insane to begin with. They obviously were trying to do right by him in every way, shape, or form. But I will say this: Kevin O'Connell was not very good with the media about the whole thing. He could have just been like, when we deem McCarthy ready to go, he's just going to be the guy. And D could have left it at that, and then can be like, well, is he ready to go? Well, he's not getting that full week of practice, so he's not. We don't deem him ready to go yet. That's all he needed to do, and it would have saved us a lot of trouble. But he played the. I'm just not going to say a bunch of words and not tell you anything. And
that's on the Vikings PR guys. They're supposed to coach him up on that shit.
Well, he's real good at that, but maybe you should have just been like, he's going to start when he's ready, and I'll tell you when he's ready, and leave it at that. Like, he did it to himself. Straight up, did it to himself. But I feel really good about where this Vikings team is, but you got to put games together. Do it again next week. Do it again the week after. Then we can really start getting confident and thinking, hey, maybe this team has a future. Maybe this team can go on that run and make a playoff push, win a playoff game. But
especially with
everything's too early.
As tough as the NFC North is, we need to win a bunch of games. Yes.
Yeah.
Tyler, what was Hargrave's snap count today?
Oh, great question.
Shit ton.
Compared if it sure felt like it. Javon Hargrave, 39 out of a possible 64 snaps. Levi Drake Rodriguez only played 11 snaps. So it felt like, even though I talked earlier about the fact that they wanted to play heavier guys, it felt like they were looking for that quick penetration more than anything, and quick penetration with blitzing. So I'm guessing that's why he got 3 pressures and a sack on the day. This is all initial data for Pro Football Focus. It could change a little bit once these grades become final, which could be later today, could be tomorrow. They've been a little inconsistent. Sometimes they've just come out early. I do have some breaking news. Aaron Jones suffered an AC joint sprain. Belief is minor, and they think he'll play next week. But the Vikings they could very well be buyers on Tuesday. We're going to talk about that in the Real Forno show, by the way. Cornerback is the one guy I keep targeting is Reek Wolin from the Seattle Seahawks. Like he's starting for him, but they don't see a future with him. Even though Seattle's kind of in a playoff push themselves, I think they can probably get by without him and get something for him in return. Otherwise, I would really consider running back, because as good as Aaron Jones has been, you can't count on him. This is his second injury already this year, and he was banged up all last year. The hip injury, the shoulder injury. Like, he played, but he kept missing big chunks of games. And Jordan Mason is a good player. You need that lightning component. You need that bursty guy. He's not that guy. And
neither was Jones on that screen pass. He looked like he was pretty slow on that 40-yard screen pass. I think they actually called it a run.
I'm saying Jordan Mason is slow, not Aaron Jones.
That's what I'm saying. Jones looked pretty slow on that play. He was not breaking away from anybody.
Right. I think he was more surprised he caught the ball, and he was so wide open.
He's there, yeah. Or maybe
he's got that like 10.
I don't know.
He's got that 10-yard burst, not the long speed. They need somebody who can get the 40, 50-yard gains right now. They just don't have that if Jones is hurt.
Like Robert Smith or Dalvin Cook back in his prime.
Mm-hmm. 2 things about the stuff you just said. The one thing I want to call out, Levi Drake Rodriguez, yes, he didn't play much, but he definitely made most of those 11 snaps. He had, I think, half of a sack and that blocked field goal. So, that's definitely making the most of his opportunities. I'm pretty sure, I think there isn't even a doubt that he's going to have a way bigger role next year, because I think the Vikings are going to unload at least one of the 2 big guys on the defensive line for cap money. So I definitely think that Levi Drake Rodriguez is going to have a bigger role next year. The other thing I want to say, I'm on the trade deadline, I would be super stoked if the Vikings get Tariq Woolen. I wouldn't be big on a running back because I think they were fine at that position, even when Aaron Jones was down. Xavier Scott did, I think, a good enough job that you don't have to give up draft capital to get another running back in the building. I think the Vikings are fine there. I think if I'm gonna go out and buy on the trade deadline, it's got to be cornerback, in my opinion. Yeah.
They may get priced out of cornerback, because one of the tough parts is there's
Yeah.
nobody to trade for except Reek Wolin, and then a couple like Rasul Douglas in Miami. But is he really going to improve this cornerback room? I don't know. Like it's barren. All the young guys,
Taylor in New Orleans.
Yep, almost all the young guys who have expiring contracts have already gotten traded. So like Greg Newsome just got traded. Roger McCreary got traded. Like it's rough out there right now at corner. I would call about is it Dax Hill or Cam Taylor-Britt from Cincy, because they're now 3-6. Like they're in dire straits. I would call about one of those guys, but
yeah,
we'll see what Kwesi has in store. Just see if he can find somebody.
I actually think that this is where the Bears win today could come in handy for us, because I don't think the Bengals would have been sellers on the deadline if they won today. Because I think in that case, they would have seen themselves as being close enough to get back once Burrow is healthy. But now they are 3-6, so they probably should sell. I'm not sure they will, but they should. So that might be the one positive from the Bears comeback today.
Yeah.
What about its center?
Nah.
No.
Unless it's a long-term option at the position. One, like that's fine. Like if it's Jackson Powers Johnson, you think he can be the guy for 10, 15 years. I think that's a trade that Kwesi would make. But like a stopgap, I think Brando was fine today. And theoretically, Ryan Kelly's coming back. He's now eligible to come back from injured reserve. I think it would be too much of a short-term move, where I don't even think that guy would start the rest of the year. Like if you're making the move, it's because you found a long-term answer.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say
from
the Cardinals. What I saw in the comments, Tyler Linderbaum is not going to be available. You can dream, man, but
you and I think alike, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, if Froholt becomes available, he's what, 28 years old.
29.
If you think he's the center for the next 7 to 10 years, I'm comfortable with that. But I don't think
maybe through a contract, but not.
If he plays for 7 more years, he's 36. 36 isn't too old for a center, in theory. If you think he's a long-term answer, make the move. If it's just for this year, I think it's a waste of capital, because I think you're okay enough at the position to where you don't need to panic trade. It's about a long-term option for me. Like this would be the TJ Hawkinson trade all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Well, guys, we've been on live for about an hour. Any last words there, Darren? You haven't talked too much. You've been quite polite in your language.
No, I'm good. I'll take a W over the Lions on the road anytime.
Jonas, what do you got? You got a podcast this week in Germany?
Yeah, probably. It's probably going to be on Wednesday, I think. Let's see. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about. We're going to figure that out over the week. But we're definitely going to have an episode this week, and I'm also going to be on this week. We're kind of doing an alternate thing where every one of the podcast crew is like on every other week, and it's my week this week. So let's see what we're going to have in store.
Gotcha. Tyler, any last words? Tell us what we're going to be talking about tomorrow night.
We're going to talk a lot about the trade deadline. We're going to talk a lot about process. And I want to point this out. Outside of the 3 kneel downs, before that, the Vikings had 32 dropbacks, and of designed runs, they had 25. So we talk about balance being, it's got to be 50-50. Balance is never about that number. It's about game flow and making sure that you have. And Dave, we talked about it yesterday, how passing efficiency is like double with multiple tight ends on the field. It's not a correlation causation thing. It's being able to take advantage of matchups and being able to bait defenses into doing what you want. And that's gonna continue to evolve. But even though running is severely less impactful from an efficiency standpoint, you need to do it. Otherwise, they're just going to sit in coverage all day and you're going to be able to do nothing. So I think plus they had 142 yards on the ground. Aaron Jones, 9 for 78. That's pretty dang good. I think KOC found balance. And this was an overall just great performance across the board. Except Tavierre Thomas. That was... Miles Price would be in all-pro conversations right now if it weren't for special teams penalties. Dead serious.
Oh, with all his returns that got called back alone would have been there. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to have a lot to talk about on Monday. And I hope Lions fans are ready to join. Aiden Hutchinson was pretty good, wasn't he? I'm going to be honest, they were glazing him on the broadcast, but I didn't really notice him that much. Aiden Hutchinson, if you love PFF grades, 61.4 PFF grade, 5 pressures, 1 sack. A lot of the pressures that he got were effort pressures. They weren't like, I'm just going to dominate and win. So I feel pretty good about that against true pass sets where Aiden Hutchinson's not very good. 61.9 PFF grade, 2 pressures with a win percentage of just 15%. Like he's okay. He played okay. Wasn't great. Like you paid this guy to be great and he wasn't. Vikings relatively shut him down.
Oh, that's why we paid Darrisaw and O'Neal.
Darrisaw, the Vikings allowed pass blocking. It says they allowed 7 pressures on the day.
That's
7.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, and the Lions allowed 20.
Not bad at all.
Sorry, the offensive line allowed 20, but they had a total of 18. So I'm guessing McCarthy was responsible for a lot of those, which honestly, not that surprising. But kudos to the Vikings. They Darrisaw, 0 pressures allowed. Blake Brandel, 0 pressures allowed. Donovan Jackson, 0 pressures allowed. Will Fries had 2. Brian O'Neal had 3. He was going up against Hutchinson all day. And Jordan Mason had 2, including the sack. But that was just a phenomenal defensive play called by Kelvin Shepard. And Jack Campbell just bitched him. Just straight up bitched him. It'll happen sometimes.
Now, you guys can catch this show as I drop it later this evening. And then also this evening, I will be recording the Fans First Sports football show with the crew from Fans First Sports. We're going to be talking about all the games of today. And you got to believe I'm going to be talking smack about the Packers. Yes, I am. So, gentlemen, what do we say?
SKOL Vikings. Woo.
Fuck the Packers.
Yes, as always. Hey, it's a great week, folks. Vikings win, Packers lose.
Damn straight.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And share this episode with your friends and even your enemies. We'd love it. Thanks for watching Vikings First and SKOL. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and we appreciate each and every one of you. SKOL.